Mynatt, one of your county commissioners, and today I'm down here in the wonderful small town of Mount Pleasant at Moose Drugs, and today we're going to talk to Chris Lowder, Superintendent of the Cabarrus County Schools. Chris, how about letting people know a little bit about you, where you were born, your background, and how you rose to the superintendency?
Okay, I was born at Cabarrus Memorial Hospital right here in Cabarrus County. I went to Royal Oaks as an elementary student, and then my family moved and went to Shady Brook and Kannapolis Middle and A.L. Brown High School. And then I went to Chapel Hill to my undergraduate and did some graduate work at UNC Charlotte. I was a teacher at Central Cabarrus High School and then assistant principal at Northwest and Central Cabarrus, and then was the principal at Central Cabarrus, and then I worked at the county office in 3 or 4 jobs as assistant superintendent and deputy superintendent, and now as the acting superintendent. Been married to my wife Stephanie for 22 years. We have a daughter Haley who is a junior at J.M. Robinson High School, and I have a daughter who's in 5th grade at Weddington Hills Elementary School, Maggie. And been, except for when I was in college, lived in Cabarrus County my whole life, and only place I've ever worked is Cabarrus County Schools, and thrilled to be working for them now and to be leading the school system. Well,
you certainly have put down roots in this community, and we're very glad that you have and that you're with us and staying with us. Tell me some of the highlights of the district, some of the things that you are most proud of about the Cabarrus County Schools.
I would say that for the past couple of years, one of the things, the state measures our schools and our school system in lots of different ways, but one of the ways that they measure is growth, how much students grow in the course of a year, and teachers' growth, measuring their students and how they grow. And for the past couple of years, we've been at 90–91% of our teachers that either meet or exceed their growth, which is the first in our region. So very proud of that statistic. We haven't just this past year for the first time hit the 90% graduation rate. So in 2009 we were about 73%, and now we've hit 90%. So had a major increase that we're very proud of. And last year in 2015, the senior class in Cabarrus County Schools received about $34 million worth of scholarships, which I think says a lot about our community and our students and our school system that we're obviously very proud of.
Well, there is a lot to be proud of there, isn't there? And especially in this time when so many people hear nothing but negatives about public education. It's wonderful to hear that this public education in this county is doing so well, and we thank you for that. We do have some issues that have been facing us for many years now, I believe probably the last 15, maybe 20 years, and that's growth, which is wonderful. We need it, we want it, but it brings headaches. So what are some of the growth issues that you're having here in Cabarrus County?
I think for our school system, it probably is going to be our #1 issue for the next decade. In the former job I was in, did the projections for Cabarrus County Schools, and so I know for the next 10 years at least, we're projected to grow between 700 and 1,000 students each year, at least for the next decade. There's a good chance it'll be longer than that, and there's a good chance it'll be more than that. So in essence, that's a school a year for the next decade. That does worry us as far as being able to have the buildings and seats in place for students to be there. So the way we do projections, or that we've worked on for the past couple years, is the county actually sends us an updated list every 2 weeks of the permits that have been approved in Cabarrus County and obviously where they are. And then we get birth rates each year, so we take all that information to try to project. It's not a completely absolute system, because you're always guessing a little bit. A permit may be approved and a home could be there 8 months later, or it might be 2 years later, but so there's kind of a time frame that we're always working on. But growth is here and is going to be here, and certainly will be a challenge for us as a school system and for our county, which is charged with building new schools. So you guys as county commissioners will be looking at that, and we'll all be trying to figure out how to accommodate the people who are moving to Cabarrus County.
So we'll be sharing some of those headaches.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Let's talk about some of the ongoing school projects that you have right now.
We have a new, Odell will open next year, so we'll have a K2. The site that is Odell now will just have K2 students in it, and we'll open a 3-5 Odell site, and that's primarily because the population is so dense right in the Odell area. So it'll be about 1,500 students between those two schools. half in K2 and half in 3-5. That'll be ready before the school year gets out with everything that's done, but we'll open next school year. And then the county commissioners have approved a replacement school for Royal Oaks Elementary School and for Mount Pleasant Middle School right here in Mount Pleasant. That will both begin, well, Mount Pleasant is scheduled to begin construction somewhere around March or April, and Royal Oaks, we'll have to wait till the students are finished this year and then move them out. Actually, a lot of those students are going to go to Boger Elementary School, and then we have to tear down Royal Oaks and build it up. So we really have 3 projects now that are kind of started, and those other 2 will heat up in the next 3 or 4 months and actually begin construction.
So it takes a lot of cooperation with the school board folks and the county commission to try to work this puzzle out. It's not just a matter of building a new school in a new place. Sometimes it's renovation, sometimes it's a combination of those things.
Absolutely, yeah. Royal Oaks and Mount Pleasant Middle School and Royal Oaks Elementary School are both, 60 years old, somewhere in that category. Maybe Mount Pleasant Middle's older. So both facilities that we needed new facilities for. So neither of those facilities will give us new seats per se, because of the they're both in areas that are not growing at the lengths that some places like Harrisburg and Concord are. So we'll have to look at all the issues with that, but absolutely the people of both of those communities deserve, and the students of those communities deserve, new facilities and have for a while, so it's exciting to be able to bring that.
That's right, and that brings up the other issue that you have, which is ongoing maintenance of our schools. If we're going to build these schools or have older schools that we still use, we have maintenance issues.
That's right, and again, so this year actually was approved again by the county commissioners as part of our plan. I think we had 5 schools that have new roofs, and some of those schools are, I think J.M. Robinson's $1 million roof. I mean, and it's not even one of our oldest schools. It was built in 2000. So just maintaining buildings that have 1,500 people coming in and out of them each day is a challenge, and it's one of the things that, again, we work with the county commissioners on all the time. Also, trying to figure out where we can build a new school and then possibly renovate another one. So kind of to your point that growth is important, but it's just all not new. So in the Harrisburg area, for example, which is probably the highest growing area in Cabarrus County, we will have to look at what new schools would be there, a new elementary school possibly, and a new high school and or middle school, but also a Central Cabarrus, which is about 50 years old, renovating that and seeing are there more seats there to make sure that can still serve the students it has now and possibly more, along with some new construction. So there's this constant balance of trying to maintain what we have and make it good and build enough that everybody will have a place to go to school.
And that almost always results in some redistricting issues.
Yes.
And I've always, as I was on the school board for a while, I always would be amused that first we would hear about the overcrowding, and we would do something about the overcrowding with a new school, and then nobody wanted their children to go to the new school. So it's sort of a chicken and egg, or what do we do now? So the public needs to understand that these decisions have to be made. They're not always the ones that they personally would like, but they have to be made.
That's absolutely true. And so as we build new schools and renovate schools, part of the solution has to be responsible to taxpayers, is to figure out how can we build the least amount and be able to accommodate everybody with seats, which usually and probably will entail some type of redistricting, which as a general rule is not very popular, but it has to be part of the solution to growth to be responsible to the taxpayers, I think.
Changing the subject, our teachers have been having a little bit of a difficult time the last couple of years with their pay and not being able to get additional supplements, etc. And I believe they did receive a supplement last year, and then this year we were able to give another one. How does that affect the morale of our teachers, even if it's not a large amount?
Yeah, definitely. Last year it was a 21% increase, and this year it was 7%. So in the past 2 years, a 28% increase on the teacher supplement. Because the teacher supplement is roughly only 25 or 30% of their pay, even when you get a raise like that, it's not the majority of the pay, and I think that's your point of it doesn't always translate to lots and lots of money. But it always contributes to morale, because it's part of what, to say, hey, we acknowledge this and we want to be able to give you what the state is not giving you. And it really goes to our ability to recruit teachers in a growing area where we're going to have 10,000 students in the next 10 years. We're going to have to go outside of Cabarrus County to get people to come and want to teach for us, and to have a competitive supplement when we're standing beside of 5 tables that are also from North Carolina when we're in another state or in another part of our state here in North Carolina. Then we want to have a supplement that says, here's a reason why you want to come to Cabarrus County. And so several steps in that direction with what the increases that have been made and that the county commissioners have given us over the past couple of years.
Tell me about some of the community efforts that are going on that help the school system, because everything doesn't have to come from the school board or the commissioners. The community can have a part in making our schools better.
Absolutely. So on a real basic level, just being a part of a school or volunteering at the school, serving on a PTSO if you have a student in school, I just talked with actually a retired person in the last 2 weeks who has been subbing in the schools that said, I went and subbed in a school, and he was just the biggest cheerleader for what he had seen. He actually subbed in our immersion Chinese class at Coxmill Elementary School. So he subbed with kindergartners who speak Chinese all day long except for a 90-minute period that they do English, which really is an amazing program when your 5-year-olds speak Chinese all day. And then within the next week, he substituted in a severely autistic classroom where he was one of 4 adults with about 4 students in the class, and he would just raved and raved about what he saw in both of those 2 classes, kind of in 2 different very spectrums of what you see in the public schools. So, but I believe once people have connected to the school system in a way like that, then they tend to become fans, and absolutely to have a qualified person who wants to sub and then now becomes a cheerleader for the school system is huge. So just being involved in any way possible, or that you're trying to be, or again, just getting what you have to do to go apply to be a substitute in our schools is huge. And then in areas like PTSOs and groups that you can have, or in organizations like our Education Foundation, which is a group that really raises money and tries to figure out how to support the school system and support teachers. And just right before Thanksgiving gave out their annual program, kind of gets bigger every year. I think it was about $40,000 of mini grants that they award to teachers who apply and say, hey, I would like to do this chemistry lab, or I would like to do this at my elementary school, to provide a garden that comes straight from the teachers and what they want to put in the classroom. And that foundation continues to fund that bigger and bigger each year, and it makes a big difference at our schools.
There's also a cooperative effort between Cabarrus County Schools and Kannapolis City Schools. Can you tell us some of the things that you have joined with them to make efficiencies and do things?
Sure. So obviously we're
countywide?
school systems in the same county. I actually attended both school systems, so obviously have a fondness for both. But Kannapolis City Schools joins us for staff development sometimes, joins us in a curriculum department. Obviously we have a bigger one because we have 6 times as many students as they do, but whenever we can partner, we do. And then from a strictly just kind of management side, our transportation departments are connected and are part of the same group, and our maintenance department. So, and that has, we've done that for 6 or 7 years now, maybe longer than that. I'm probably going to be wrong on the years, and that has worked very well, and I think Kannapolis would say the same. So we really kind of work together to hopefully be as efficient as possible, again, working with taxpayer dollars.
Well, I think that you have demonstrated that we have a very fine school system with a lot of things going on, a lot of future plans, but we also have some issues that we need some help with. So if someone is watching this show and they say, you know, I really need to know more about such and such a school, or I'd like to get involved in such and such a school, how would you suggest that they go about finding out the ways they can help?
I think the easiest way and the best way is most people like to get connected to the school that's closest to their home because they feel like that's part of their community. So to send an email to the principal, to just call the school and simply say, hey, I really want to support or work with your school, how can I do that? There's a lot of ways that I believe they can do that, again, the principal and the people will start working on ways to incorporate them in the community, because strong community partners make our schools better, so we want as much of that as possible.
Well, it is so true. Our children are everybody's responsibility, and you are doing a magnificent job, and the board is doing a wonderful job with you, and thank you so much for talking to me about it and sharing all of this with the public.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and appreciate Moose Drugs here having us and giving us Sundrop.
There you
That's
go.
a great thing.
Now I'll drink my Sundrop.
That's right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.